Hey,
We're back, man.
we're back one more time with feeling here.
You know what I am excited about?
What is that?
This conversation, obviously, but
Yep.
I get to spend some time with you next week.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to sit along and talk much.
That's our thing.
That's our thing. And yeah, maybe have a dead cow while we're at it.
Okay. That sounds like a plan.
Okay. Good. Well, I think David is not making it today. The Masters tournament is going on. So that is one thing that he never misses. So
For sure.
apologies to all of our guests just beforehand. Yeah, that is the way that the sun sometimes goes.
I did a call with him this morning via one of their, because you can't take phones in.
Right.
So they have one of the special phone booths you can be in. So we had a call with Napoleon Hill thing this morning, and so we had to do it from the special phone booth.
That's great. Look forward to getting with you in New York next week. It's going to be fun.
Indeed.
Yeah. So let's just jump into it. We've got a fascinating lineup today, starting with somebody that I think everybody's going to really enjoy in terms of this conversation. Lisa Skinne, live from Napa Valley. Here we are.
All right.
Welcome, Lisa.
I haven't started drinking the wine yet, so I'm good.
What? Oh, no, that's just a moment in time. That's not an extended period of time, I'm assuming. Okay, good. You got a new book. Well, not a new book. It's a book that came out a couple of years ago. Truth Lies in Alzheimer's, Its Secrets Faces. The whole idea of dementia, Alzheimer's in particular, I'm looking forward to just kind of hearing what you have to say about this. David Perlmutter, Dr. David Perlmutter is a good friend of mine, and he spends a lot of time in Alzheimer's research. And there's some fascinating new things coming on. Yeah, interesting. Viagra, yeah, as a treatment for Alzheimer's, which
heard that.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I'm always fascinated by what compels somebody to write a book about a specific topical area. And this in particular, Minding Dementia is your company. But what kind of puts you over the line to say because usually when we write a book, it's because I can't find the book anywhere else. Yeah, so I'm going to write the book I can't find. What was kind of the gestation of this for you?
Well, my experience with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia dates back about 50 years when my grandmother started displaying very strange and peculiar behaviors. I went to visit her one day. I wanted to go over and show off my driver's license. And she only lived a few miles from us, and I grew up with her, and we had a special relationship. So I went over there this one particular day, and no sooner did I sit down, she started telling me about these birds that were living in her mattress, and they would come out at night and peck her face. And she pointed to her walls, and she said, "You see that? You see that?" And I'm looking, and I'm like, "Well, no, but okay, what are you trying to show me?" She goes, "Don't you see all those rats running along the walls? They're just invading my house."
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. And then she continued on to tell me about these men that were constantly breaking into her home. They were stealing her jewelry, stealing her food. All she had left was bread. And she just knew that they were going to do away with her and take over her life. And she was just waiting for them to do that. And she said, "I called the police, but they don't do anything." And I am just flabbergasted because I didn't suspect that there was anything wrong with my grandma. And I saw her regularly. But I come from the generation that you don't argue or contradict your elders. So instead of saying, "Grandma, this absolutely crazy what you're telling me. I went along with her and I said, well, I really want to help you with this problem. Let's start with the birds in the mattress. Can you show me where they're getting in and out of? So we walked into her bedroom. I threw the covers off. I'm looking everywhere, underneath and on top, for signs of birds. And of course, I knew that this was so preposterous, it couldn't be true. So, but I said to her, I said, Grandma, I want to help you get rid of this situation with the birds. I mean, you must not be sleeping and you're scared. Can you show me how they're getting in and out of your mattress? And she looks me straight in the eye and she says, oh, Lisa, you might not be able to see them, but they're there. They're just very, very clever. And of course, fast forward 10, 20 years, I learned, because I decided after I graduated from college that this was a calling for me. And since my grandmother, I've had 7 more family members who have lived with one of the 200 known brain diseases that cause the similar symptoms. We put it in a bucket called dementia.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned just from being around people living with Alzheimer's disease and dementia that her response to me asking her to show me where the birds are coming in and out of was brilliant. It was classic. And they become very masterful at covering up and explaining away their false beliefs. And that's exactly what I was witnessing that day with the birds. It was a false belief. The rats, that's a common hallucination that we see in people living with dementia. I witnessed the paranoia and the suspicion with the men that were going to, take over her life. And so what I discovered, since I decided to make this my life calling and my profession, is there is such a common theme and a common denominator with everybody I encountered that had an Alzheimer's story. I've been doing this for 30 years professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And the one common theme that I realized was missing in just about everybody was they don't understand the disease. They don't understand what it's doing to the brains of the people who live with it. And they don't connect the dots that these delusions and false beliefs and hallucinations are the disease. They're part of it. Not every single person displays every single symptom. But the reason why we use dementia as the broad-based term, because there are so many similarities depending on no matter what brain disease it is. And I'm talking Alzheimer's, which is the most common. I'm talking Lewy body disease. I'm talking frontotemporal disease, vascular dementia. There are 200, as I said, known. But all of the symptoms that we see in people going through the progression of these diseases is interwoven. So we just refer to it as dementia to make it easy. And I wrote the books, because I was called over to a client's home. This was about 20 years ago. And it was preceded the first book I wrote, which is called Not All Who Wander Need Be Lost. And this was kind of the impetus behind me actually sitting down with pen and paper and writing the first book. Her name was also Lisa, and she called me over, had been referred by another one of my clients. And she said, Lisa, my husband and I called you over here today because we're just desperate for knowledge and information. And we heard you're pretty good at that when it comes to Alzheimer's disease and dementia. So they just start picking my brain and asking me a bazillion questions. Her father had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease about 2 years prior to my visit. And his mother, her husband's mother, had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease about 2 years prior. And I'm answering all their questions and explaining things to them. And she stops me after about 2.5 hours. And she said, Lisa, let's just take a pause for a second, because I just want to tell you, in the 2.5 hours that we've been having this conversation, you have provided us with more information than we've been able to get anywhere else, including our doctors, about the day-to-day challenges that accompany living with dementia.
Yeah.
And she says to me, you need to write a book. You got to do a book. She said, because it would be really selfish of you not to share the knowledge and the information that you possess that could help so many families like me and my husband who have been struggling with the day-to-day challenges that come up. And there's just such limited resources out there. Yeah. And the thing that's funny is I had heard this before from many of my clients. And my number one observation is, wow, people don't get this disease at all. They think it's exclusive to memory loss and confusion. And it's so much more complicated. I gave you examples from my grandmother's behaviors that I witnessed personally, which are all very, very common living with this disease.
Hey, Lisa,
go ahead.
No. So where can they get the book?
Oh, on Amazon is probably the most convenient place to get it, but it's sold with, through all of the booksellers. It's on my website. I do have a audio version of it and a Spanish version of it that I really like. My favorite format is the audio version. I found a great narrator. So yeah, Amazon.com. You can either plug in the search bar Lisa Skinne or the title of the second edition, but I changed the name. It's called it's called Truth, Lies, and Alzheimer's, Its Secret Faces.
And I imagine we have to watch your TEDx talks on this subject.
If you'd like to. What I did in the TED Talk was I compared what living with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia is, so people could kind of have a baseline to relate it to, the day-to-day challenges that people face when they're losing all of their cognitive functions, to Alice in Wonderland's whimsical journey through Wonderland. So I drew parallels and contrasts and comparisons between Alice's journey through Wonderland, which was crazy, and what people actually go through when they are losing all of their cognitive abilities, because there were so many similarities between the Alice in Wonderland story and what people really, what their life really looks like when they're living with brain disease and the cognitive impairment that comes along with it.
Yeah. The aging of my generation, I'm a little bit ahead of you guys, I think, chronologically, but we're aging out. And, this is something that, I know, when my mom passed, she was just beginning to have some things happening, cognitively going on with her, and her mother was in the throes of it for a couple of years. So, Lisa, just your mission to increase awareness around not just Alzheimer's, but the whole domain of dementia-related illnesses, and what we can look for, what we can appreciate, what we can actually address. I just commend you on that. You are an incredible resource, and folks, if you've got something like this occurring in your family, and to your point, Lisa, you've had 8, I believe it was, family members actually have to deal with this personally, and it sometimes it is hereditary. Yeah, not always, but there is a hereditary component to this. So if you want to get educated, kind of going back to your story with the interview that you sat down with that couple, you are an incredible font of information here that people would be foolish not to take advantage of. Gigi, can you put up her? There you go. Thank you very much. This is where you can find out more information, folks. mindingdementiasummit.com. And I got a hunch that there's all kinds of resources there and ways to actually get in touch with you so that they can get questions answered.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for.
Great.
That's what I'm committed to, because it's such a chronic situation out there.
Well, it's been our honor to have you on the show. Sorry David wasn't here, and I think you understand why he wasn't.
I do.
Okay. And we'll find another way to keep ourselves connected with you.
That would be awesome. Thanks again for having me. I really appreciate your support with raising awareness for this, very heartbreaking disease, and having me on today to share it with your audience.
Well, we'll make this a short goodbye, not a long goodbye. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Wow. That is a lot of information that I think is very well needed today. And I look around and it's not just memory loss or memory burps, because I'll lose my keys. It's kind of like, okay, why did I come in this room? That's not what we're talking about here. There's something a little bit more fundamental than that. I've been wondering about why I came into this room for about 50 years. So that's what was I here for?
No, but in terms of family too, right? How to deal with it as a family member is really, really hard and not something that we're equipped to do by ourselves. I think we have, the idea of getting support and some help and understanding of what's going on. I know it's really hard for people.
So shifting gears here just a little bit, our next guest is the CEO and founder of CrowdStake, James Leach. And James, there you are. Great to see you here. Based in Austin. Now you've got an interesting app. And rather than me butchering the description of it here, I'm gonna just kind of turn it over to you. What's it's a new app, CrowdStake app, and it's geared toward content creators and nonprofits. Yeah. So two real discrete groups, not mutually exclusive, but they are discrete. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, and I was just listening to Lisa talk about what she's doing, and the tie-in is. If I can actually present my screen here, if I can do that, I can show it to you.
I don't know that we can do that.
It says share screen. Let's just try it. Let's try and see if it works.
Okay, Gigi, see if we can do that.
So, there's with AI and the emergence of that technology and blockchain, what CrowdStake did
there we go
to expedite charitable giving, and we have people who are giving to charities for dementia and Alzheimer's and all such like that, is we built an AI model and we scraped the IRS database of all the EIN numbers associated with nonprofits, and we built profiles for every nonprofit in the United States. And we built a payment processor. So now anybody can very quickly donate credit, debit, they can give cryptocurrency, I won't get into the staking rewards. That's kind of a blockchain nerd thing. But it automates the tax receipt process, and we made it so easy for people to start, for millennials and Gen Zs, they're giving in higher volumes and higher amounts in crypto versus fiat versus credit and debit. So we built this whole payment processor to make it easier for people to give to charities. And the reason we utilized AI in this fashion was, instead of going to individual nonprofits and saying, hey, do you want to take Bitcoin? We built this vast marketplace. We utilized AI, and we're seeing unprecedented numbers of people giving more quickly to different causes because of this marketplace that just put all the nonprofits in one place.
Brilliant.
Is it helping just, sorry, Blaine, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm just a comment. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. To make sure it's clear though, nonprofits join our network and then they take full control over their page. If you have not joined your network, we have the CrowdStake Foundation, so that if someone, say, gives $100 worth of Bitcoin to American Red Cross, we take the 3% processing fee, and then we automatically, the net difference goes to American Red Cross. But our nonprofit issues the tax receipt automatically at the time of your donation of Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency. And then once a nonprofit claims their page, they have full control over all the monies they receive, and they start automatically issuing the tax receipt on their own behalf. So we just made it kind of like how Yelp was like 10 years ago, where you just claim your business. And so we've made it available for every nonprofit in the country. And we're seeing nonprofits just sign up. They get that widget. They add the widget to their website. And they're now taking cryptocurrency. And even competitively on debit and credit, we're somehow magically cheaper than a lot of the other payment process out there, because there's a little predatory stuff going on in the charity world where people are paying 5 and 6% from payment processors from 10 years ago they signed up with, and they never started looking around. And we're like, guys, like, we have some nonprofits that are like, we don't like Bitcoin, but your debit and credit is a lot more attractive. So there's people coming over just for that too. So, and anyway, we built that for charities because I have a background in theater, and started raising money for performance groups to get their art out to the world. And then because of that, there's content creators, and it's the same product. If you just turn off the automated tax receipt, people that are streaming on Twitch and Kick can now get tips and donations from the same widget. You just, obviously they don't get a tax deductible contribution on it. But so that whole software does all that. It's been out there, and we've spent 2 years building it, and we have very smart people who made it all work. And I'm here to talk. I'm glad to be here to talk about it.
Well, I hope the Unstoppable Foundation, Blaine, is on.
I was just thinking about that, Rhett. Yeah.
If you go to crowdstake.com and you type in your nonprofit, it's in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Now, if you have a DBA, this comes up sometimes, or someone's like, my nonprofit's not in your database. I was like, well, do you have a DBA? And they're like, oh, yeah, we call it completely something different than what the IRS name has it under. So you have to type in what you filed with the IRS for it to be, because we pulled from the IRS API. So that's how you find it. Or you can just look by your EIN number.
Beautiful.
Is there, one of the things that's a challenge, I think, for a lot of people in terms of giving is to decide what kind of organization to give to. And is that organization credible? Mm-hmm. Is there any way to see on here, and there is something you're thinking about in terms of how the companies use their money? Is there a way to look at sort of their rating in terms of, how they've been graded in terms of what they do, and the kind of way that are they good stewards of the money that you're donating? Yeah,
it's a great question. So what we were experiencing during like the California wildfires was a lot of people were doing GoFundMes, and there was a lot of fraud going on of people saying, oh, I lost my house. And it's like, you find out that person doesn't even live in California. And so the first filter is, if they're on our website, then they're with the IRS. They filed a real 501c3. So that's the first filter. The second thing that's really cool that you brought up is what we have. It probably doesn't come out for another, 90 days or so, but we have an AI agent where you can talk to our AI interface, and it will give you all the information you ask about that nonprofit. How much do they spend on programming?
Wow.
How much does the executive director get paid? If I donate $1, what percentage of it goes to actual programming?
Love that.
And it has all the public information that you don't know how to go find, but it's all public information. We just scrape it all and put it all in an interface so that you can talk to the nonprofit about it. And so that's going to be a really powerful tool. And the thing is when you scrape, we've already scraped the totality of the internet, anything associated with this EIN number. So you can read we have nonprofits that say you're telling our story better than us, because we have just taken the last 10 years of everything they've put across the internet, and we have had AI put a nice little summary together. So that AI conversational tool will be powerful, because you'll be able to say, how much did they spend on marketing last year and what's going on? And it'll really, I don't want to get into scoring. I don't want to be like, oh, this is a good one, this is not a good one, because some charities spend a lot of money on marketing and they do a lot of good. So I don't want to give them a low score because they spend a lot of money on that. And big nonprofits are businesses, and you got to have good executive leaders who know how to run things, and they deserve to get paid if they're doing good work. So we're just going to be there as a tool so you can learn more about it.
Right. And, so you can make a good judgment. Right.
Yeah. And what's really cool is if you really don't know, you typically have an industry or a nonprofit or 5 that you care about already. So what we have that comes out literally next week is what we're calling internally bundles. So I particularly care about coral reef restoration. So I, James, have created a coral reef restoration bundle. I have chosen 5 nonprofits, and I am launching a coral restoration bundle, and I get to launch it and put it out across my own social network and say, I'm James, I care about this cause. Every dollar that gets donated to that bundle, the software automatically splits it equally across all the nonprofits in my bundle.
I love it.
That is crazy.
So
I love
that way people can have causes about whether it's helping children or poverty or food. You can have your concept and your theme in your bundle. And what we'll also be rolling out is, if there's a natural disaster, it'll naturally spin up its own fund because AI can read geological surveys. There's a tsunami coming in. Our software will launch a campaign before you even wake up in the morning and read about it. So it's software is really changing the world, and AI, of course, has done that. And we're just excited to merge that into philanthropy.
Wow. And you're doing an incredible job of it. I mean, while you were talking, I went onto your site and typed in the Unstoppable Foundation, which is a foundation that David and I both support. As a matter of fact, we're both on the board. And it's just crazy. I mean, it's amazing what comes up. Unstoppable Foundation, yes. Based in Culver City. Yeah, I am, and everything here.
Yeah, I see it right here. It's got your Twitter account linked to it and everything.
Everything, yep.
Yeah, it's all right there, man. I'm stalking every nonprofit in the country through my software.
Yeah, well, we've got about 500,000 people daily being touched by the work we do in sub-Saharan Africa. So it's quite a deal. So
yeah, I mean, the best way to help a company like us is just to help more nonprofits find out that this exists and they can collect money fast. I mean, we talked about this y'all were talking about this with Lisa, like who's going to be the largest donating class here in the next 10 years? And what are they into? Are they into AI and are they into cryptocurrency? I think the answer is yes. And what we need to do is empower them to be excited and make nonprofits cool and fun. And let's do what we can with the tools and technology to get people inspired to start giving. Because, American Red Cross, 50 years and older is their average donor. They're in trouble if they don't start speaking to a younger generation.
Absolutely.
What you're doing though is you're making it easy for the nonprofits. And I think, they shouldn't have to spend money on technology to put all this stuff together, right? Right. They shouldn't have to do that. And you make it easy for them to take donations.
Yep. There's a company out there, I'm not going to name them, that kind of has been leading the market for a while. And they got away with it for several years, charging thousands of dollars just to even have the widget to even take payment processing and accept Bitcoin as a donation and all that stuff. And, we're just, they've done a good job because they kind of spearheaded it, but it's time for more modern capabilities to come in.
And you can find that more modern capability at crowdstake.io or crowdstake.com.
Yep.
Both of them work.
Guys.
Both of them work. So I can't thank you enough. This has been a fascinating conversation.
Yep.
Folks, particularly if you have got a bent towards philanthropy, this is going to be a game changer, just in terms of being able to actually contribute and make a difference. And it's easy to do. Crowdstake.io. Check it out. And James, thank you very much.
Thanks,
great having you on the show.
Cheers.
Cheers. That is slick. I'll be talking to the CEO of the foundation in just a few minutes.
I mean, I think you should, I think you should bend their ear a little bit on that.
Yes, I'm definitely going to do that. Hey, we got somebody coming in from Singapore today. Maxwell Nee, and there we are. Hey, Maxwell.
Hey, everyone. How you going?
Doing well. How are you doing? It's either late at night or early in the morning for you.
It's pretty early. It's about 6:30 in the morning.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Now, you've got something that's called the Scorecard Marketing Book, and there's a way to actually generate consistent leads and turn them into sales, but the generation piece is, qualified lead generation is always, kind of the holy grail here. But then that conversion piece, if you've got qualified, conversion is a little bit easier than if you've got non-qualified, obviously. But how does your scorecard marketing book actually come into play around this?
Yeah, good question. Thank you. So here it is. It's called Scorecard Marketing, the 4-step playbook for getting better leads and bigger profits. Available on Amazon and all those good places. It's written by my business partner, Daniel Priestley. He is a best-selling author, written 4 best-selling books. Won awards for UK's Entrepreneur of the Year. If you grab the audio book, actually, it'll be my voice that reads it out. And what we do is that we are a software. There's a free version, and then it goes up to about $149 US. And the software helps you to attract, engage, and convert your audience by putting them through a series of questions. So it puts them through a methodology of like lead generation called quiz marketing. And what that does is that, I'll give you an example. Quiz marketing is, think of, if you've ever seen those ads where a personal trainer or a gym or a fitness center might say, answer these 10 questions and I will tell you the exact body type that you have. And based on your exact body type, I will then recommend for you a personalized nutrition plan, workout plan, and cardiovascular plan specific to your goals that'll help you reach your goals in half the time, so that you're not doing anything that's not purposely designed and catered and fit to you. So that's obviously compelling for a few reasons, right? Because everyone loves instant feedback. So our app allows you to calculate and generate instant feedback for your clients and then deliver it to them immediately. And then it's also extremely personalized, So if I or you, Rhett, were to log on to Amazon.com right now, we would both see completely different websites, right? Because it's got 10 years of my purchase history, 10 years of your purchase history, and we only want what's relevant to us to keep us engaged, right?
Right.
And then the last reason why it's very compelling is that it sort of tickles the intrigue, right? Because if you're getting a personalized score, Blaine, I want my personalized score as well, and then a part of us wants to see how I score against you and how you score against me and how we score against the averages. So there's a few reasons why this type of marketing performs really well in terms of numbers. A typical lead magnet that'll convert someone from like a listener to a podcast or a radio station or a YouTube video watcher into someone that gives you that information saying, here's my name and my phone number, please call me, I'm interested in what you have to offer. The difference between those is a typical lead magnet will convert at about, say, 10-15%. And we are seeing conversions of minimum 20 up to about 60%. So you can imagine if your email list is growing 4 times faster, then it just makes the sales part of your business very, very healthy.
Wow. So who is the ideal client here? I mean, for example, Blaine and I both have coaching businesses. Are we an ideal, with a decent social following, right? Are we ideal candidates for this, or who's the ideal candidate?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, coaches. So we have about just under 10,000 clients right now that are paying for this service. Been around for about 5 years, all around the world, and 90% of those are coaches, consultants, authors, service providers, thought leaders, anyone selling a digital product, because it has digital, online scale. You don't want to limit yourself to, for example, like a coffee shop or a bagel shop, right? So, but if you do have like a large e-commerce store, I've seen it work very well for e-commerce as well. So, in the e-commerce space, it helps you to dissect and narrow down, which part of the store is most relevant to you, right? Just like Amazon. So Amazon's actually
used to a
doing
mailing list, or how do you deploy it? Is it through like my personal mailing list, or is it through my LinkedIn contacts, or how does that?
Any form of traffic. So mailing list, YouTube video, listening, podcasts. We even have a scorecard within this book. So it's converting all readers to the book into a qualified lead for us to then put you through the educational journey of why this could work for you.
Mm-hmm. In terms of crafting the quiz, how much flexibility is there, and what kind of guidance is there in actually structuring questions that will give the kind of result that you'd like to, that I would like to see in terms of qualifying the leads that we're actually working with? Yeah,
good question. So there's two ways to use it. The first way is totally setting it up yourself, and that'll take about as long as setting up like a new website for the first time. So typically a day and a half of sitting at the computer is what it takes most people. So until about 2 years ago, all of our clients had to do that, had to put in about 6 to 7 hours of work and copywriting and moving things here and there and changing colors and that type of thing. But now we have integrated an AI wizard that'll put you through like a fact-finding mission, Blaine, and then it'll ask you for your name, some keywords on your brand, your ideal client, your target audience, and then it'll pull out of you and recreate within the guardrails that we've done it, a quiz in about 2 to 3 minutes using AI. And then that's like draft 1, 2, and 3 done. Then you just go in and polish the edges.
Mm-hmm. So you can do some A/B testing off of it and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And so it'll basically, the AI has been set up to basically write a marketing campaign for you, because it's not just the quiz questions, it's also the results page, the hook, the value proposition, and everything else.
That's fascinating. Yeah, all right. Rhett, anything else?
No, it's amazing tools that we have today to utilize and do lead gen. I mean, it's Maxwell, I guess one more quick thing. There's a lot of stuff out there about lead generation, and I don't know about you, Blaine, but I get probably a dozen emails a day. Let me help you, do your lead generation and conversion. What sets this apart from all that other crap? I didn't say that. Did I say that? Did I say that? Oops. All that other stuff out there.
Yeah. Good question. So, so I used to have an online education business, like a coaching business. And we used to do about $2 million a year, hired and fired 50 people to get that business going. And there is pockets of opportunity at any one point in time. When Vision Lakiani built Mind Valley, starting, I think, in 2003, all he needed to do was Google AdWords, right? Because he could get Google AdWords leads for 50 cents. Now they're $15, right? So it's about pockets of opportunity at the right moment, at the right time. The reason why I like this one is I've used this personally in my coaching business, and it helped us to bring in about 25% of our leads at the time. The rest of them were from doing a lot of heavy lifting, like weekly webinars. We would do 2 weekly webinars and just keep putting that out there, asking for referrals. We do live physical events, which is, a huge logistical nightmare. Well, especially because all of our clients are online. So, you can never really quite get them all into a room. And then, my business partner has done all of the above. He's been in the coaching space for a very long time. He actually has DVDs with his original coaching program on them. So that sort of tells you how long he's been doing them for. And the one tool that he's been using that's worked consistently has been his scorecard. So, it's what I would say is, I don't have a crystal ball, no one does, and no lead generation tool or or assistant or coach does. But if it's free to try, then it comes down to what you said, Blaine, the A/B testing.
Mm-hmm. Great. People could find out more about you at, I'm assuming, your website and actually get some sense of what the app can do. It's scoreapp.com.
Yep.
And that's, there we go. Thanks, Gigi. Scoreapp.com. Check it out, folks. I think you're going to be, this is one of the better, truly one of the better lead gen conversion apps I've heard about. And I look forward to poking around here because I'm always looking for something that works a little bit better than what I'm using. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and talking about DVDs, I think one of my first coaching programs was on cassette tapes. So
wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. It goes back a few years. And that was high tech.
Yeah. Impressive.
Maxwell, thank you very much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show.
Indeed.
My pleasure, gents. Cheers.
You bet.
Thanks.
You take care. Wow.
Well, we've done it.
We've done it. Another one in the hopper. Another one in the hopper. Number 716, I believe. We are on a roll. Rolling. What's your takeaway today? Cut you loose here.
Cut me loose. I really enjoyed Lisa's conversation. My takeaway from the last two guests is that making it easier and easier to do business and easier to really, in the case of the charities, that would make it easier to help these charities raise money. I think that's amazing. Mm-hmm. I like the lead gen. I think it's a constant issue that I know all of us face, particularly in the coaching space and the consulting space, in terms of, how do we do lead generation? I know it's something that's on my mind all the time, and having somebody you can trust in a quality program, that has results and gets results, I think is really important. And then, making it easier. I guess the theme goes to Lisa too, making it easier for people to cope with family and friends and people who are going through dementia and Alzheimer's. And I think, so that's my takeaway. I like these three because they're making it easier for us to work, to go through this world. And that's, we have a lot on our plate in the world today. So,
yeah. I like that, the kind of that last piece that you just said here. And I think that'll be my takeaway here. Yeah. Making it easier. Easier to deal with the inevitability of aging and all of the infirmity that comes with that, but also easier to find ways to give back philanthropically. There's that piece. And then the lead gen. I mean, that is, like you said, I mean, this is something I've wrestled with for, a bunch of years. Yeah. How do we actually get in front of the right people at the right time with the right message? And and it's not always been easy. So I think ease is a good thing to work with. So I'm going to play with that one for a while.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Folks, you've been listening to Office Hours. My co-host, my partner in crime here, Rhett Power. Rhett, it's always a pleasure to work with you on this. And I look forward to seeing you in New York next week. We're going to have a good time. And folks, David's not here. We mentioned this at the top of the show. He's at the Masters. But he will be available, I'm assuming, and this will probably come back to bite me, but Friday, he's got his Friday trainings. There you go. Friday training at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. And if he's not out on the course, he's going to be available in a phone booth, running the show. Okay, so check it out. And until next time, thanks for listening. This is Office Hours, and you have a great rest of your week, folks.
We'll see you next Thursday.
See you next Thursday.